Here I am at a beautiful topsail beach in paradise, St. John's, Newfoundland. Every day I ask myself, why me? Why now? Why? I was born a long time ago in what is now called former Yugoslavia. It was a beautiful country which fell apart. My home is now known as Bosnia and Herzegovina. I lived there until I was 15 years old. I had an amazing childhood because I was exposed to so many different cultures, to so many different religions. Yet, all the people that lived there seemed to me just the same. There are no differences between Serbs and Croats, Croats and Bosnians, Bosnians and Serbs, just like there are no differences between Russians or Ukrainians, Canadians or Americans, British or French, French or German. We are all the same, yet we are all different. When I was 15 years old, I joined a military college in former Yugoslavia. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. My education cost about $60,000 for 4 years. We had full access to absolutely everything. We lived in dormitories. We had teachers. We had playgrounds. We had access to every weapon, every arm available to former Yugoslavian army. My major was systems of automatic maneuvering and firing. In tanks, we worked on M84 tanks, which were highly sophisticated machines. My minor was anti-aircraft artillery. We worked on Bofors, which are three 20 millimeter guns that shoot planes. It was all fun and games until the war started. Until we realized that what we were preparing for, we were not ready to do. Knowing how to shoot, how to pull a trigger, doesn't make you a soldier. Having a uniform doesn't make you a soldier. Underneath all that, we're still humans. How do you turn a human into a soldier? How does a man become a monster? It is a long and slow process. It starts so simple, but by the end of it, you no longer recognize yourself. You are able to commit such atrocities, such monstrosities, that you truly ask yourself whether you're a human or not. Why me? Why now? Why? The war is something undescribable. No one is born for it. We all have to be primed for it, conditioned for it. It takes years of careful and deliberate planning, takes education, morality, religion, spirituality. It takes music, it takes movies, it takes jokes. Everything that you consider to be a part of your identity is not working for you. It is working for those who designed it to work for them. We are but pawns in this beautiful game we call life. I know. Millions, no. Billions, no. Everybody knows. All it takes is a one grenade exploding right in front of you or hitting your house to realize what the war is. Then all morality, all education, everything you know fails. Words always fail. So do actions, emotions. On my drive here, I saw several houses sporting a Ukrainian flag in support of Ukraine. How can you support one side against the other side and say that you're peaceful? There are no Russians, there are no Ukrainians, there are no Bosnians, there are no Serbians or Croatians. We are all the same. We are all the same. And the world as we know it has been given to us. Why me? Why now? Why? There is no transparency. None of us know why we are here, where we are going, what is the purpose of this life. We blindly follow our gut feelings, our emotions, not knowing that everything about us is simply conditioned. When I was 18 years old, I was on guard, protecting my unit. There was 45 Orthodox Christians, Serbs sleeping, and they were protected by a Bosnian Muslim, myself. None of them ever thought that I would murder them while asleep, because they knew who I was. Yet, less than 100 kilometers from us, Bosnians and Serbs were killing each other. And here I was protecting my friends blindly, and they did the same for me. I remember one event when we were to be graded for our physical endurance, and our officer asked us to go for a run. I was the slowest in my unit. Nevertheless, my friends decided to put me in front, and they all ran after me, singing nationalistic, Orthodox Christian Serbian songs in support of a Bosnian Muslim, leading them around. That is the absurdity of life. We all know what right is and what wrong is, but the conditions around us dictate our own actions. Most of us think we would do the right thing, but the reality is none of us would. In a situation where it is you against them, your child against their child, the nature, the conditioning that we think is nature takes over, and you want to protect your own offspring, not knowing that your offspring is their offspring and vice versa, not knowing that all this world is just one energy and we all belong to it. This beautiful ocean, the beautiful soil, the people, the animals. We are all one. Greed and selfishness is something that exists in nature, but we have taken it to another level. How many cars do you need? How many guitars do you need? How many women do you need? How many children do you need? How much money do you need? Do we need any of it? No. Here I am, all by myself, at this beautiful place. I have thousands of friends. I have met tens of thousands of people throughout my life. After completing the military college, I was no longer able to stay in my country because I was in the Serbian army. I was Bosnian who fought against Croatians. None of them wanted me. I wanted all of them. I never fired a gun at anybody, yet I became an enemy to absolutely everyone because I did not want to choose a side. So Canada chose me. I've already mentioned this joke before in the war between Serbs and Croats. Who won? Canada did. The best children came here, the best families came here, to this beautiful place. Just like many Ukrainians will come here. When the invasion of Ukraine started by Russia, there was already advertisements online to hire a Ukrainian. We need them here. There are thousands of women and children in front of their borders while men are back home fighting. Men will die, but we can use women and children for sure to prosper our own economies. The same thing happened 20 years ago with Bosnians. So we came to Newfoundland to help this place, to make food, to build houses, to help the economy. And it has been a great relationship between Canada and the immigrants. Yet, everything that we get, it seems like a gift to us, not our own birthright. The reality is that this world belongs to me, not the other way around. This place is my birthright. The sea, the soil. This is me. No one can give me back myself. The world belongs to me. I have to share it, and I have no problems sharing it. Let's say there are 8 billion people, there are 4 billion women, 4 billion men. Shouldn't be that difficult to find one woman who will love me, one house where I can sleep, and one car that I can drive in exchange for my labor. I don't mind working, I don't mind contributing. But why do I get $12 an hour while somebody gets 12,000? What is the difference between me and him? Just because he was born to a certain family, he gets to decide my fate. This is not fair. We all know it. We get to share. No one drop of the ocean is different than the other drop of the ocean. When it is no longer an ocean. The same goes for humanity. After the war in former Yugoslavia and the aggression on Bosnia and Herzegovina, I came here. I went to school. I spent 5 years at my university library trying to understand how it was possible to turn people against people, brother against brother. And I learned how. It's easy, it's simple. We all know that now as well. There are men without honor out there. Yet, they are as good as we are. No man is better than me, and I am not better than anybody else. They also want the right thing to do, but they can't. The system is stacked up against them. They have to provide for many. They don't know how. After I graduated from my university, I wanted to kill myself. It was really depressing, realizing that everything I learned was a lie, that I was taught to become a slave, a soldier of fortune, a soldier of somebody else's fortune, and that my father was exactly the same, and that my children are exactly the same. That this has been going on for thousands of years. Every day the sun goes up, every day the sun goes down. Nothing ever changes until we learn the lesson. And then everything changes. The world as we know it has been around for only so long. Our knowledge is very limited. The reality of our existence is completely different. What if telepathy was real? What if teleporting is real? What if you could astrally travel to absolutely anywhere and talk to absolutely anyone? And maybe you can. We don't know. Our reality is this place that is sterile, that is made of iron, made of visible things, measurable things. If your house is bigger than mine, that doesn't mean it's happier than mine. The same goes for absolutely everything else. How many women have suffered because of their breasts? How many men have suffered because of their hair? Are those the true measurements of our humanity? Is the car a measurement of your heart, of your soul? What is the point of having a big house and a beautiful car and a beautiful wife if none of you are happy? Why do we try so hard to keep our own possessions our own? Give them away. Give your life away. Give it all away. The energy will come back to you in a different form. Perhaps there is Eldin in that tree. Perhaps there is Eldin in that water, in that sun, in that island over there. Years of education here brought me to my knees. So I decided to leave this place. I moved away. I lived in South Korea for such a long time. I had a beautiful life. I was nobody. I was not Eldin. I was nobody. And it felt really good to be nobody for a long time. I was just a Canadian expat living abroad. I did not have to explain Bosnia to anyone. I just wanted to forget it all, but it can't be done. Bosnia is everywhere. We are all Bosnia, just like Ukraine and Russia, Yemen, Somalia, Afghanistan. A small problem became a big problem because we could not face it for what it was. So I came back here again, this time with a wife, with children. Both my wife and I broke down again, realizing what was going to happen here to us and to the world. You cannot have a happy family anymore. You cannot be with your children anymore. I was stripped away from my family, from my children, from my business, from my home, from my finances, and from my own existence. I was a danger to this society because I was a happy man. My family was happy, and it was dangerous. It was dangerous to the new world order, whatever that means. Only the chosen ones get to be with their families, to procreate, to create new children who will also inherit them. Just like our dear presidents or prime ministers, Justin Trudeau's father was a prime minister, Pierre Trudeau, and just like Justin Trudeau's children will be a prime minister, the same goes for us. My father was a slave, I am a slave, my children will be slaves. That is the reality. None of us can change this. We don't have the power, we don't have the means. I was a part or a member of freedom movement. I was ridiculed, laughed at, challenged, because I was telling everyone that Canadians fighting for freedom means Canadians fighting for Ukrainians and Russians and Bosnians and Serbians. People laughed at us because they have been programmed to think a certain way, to feel a certain way. There are key words that you can use to trigger people to react a certain way. There's nothing you can do. It is like talking to an empty shell. Their responses have been pre-programmed. Their language, the sentence structure has been pre-programmed. I learned several languages, for example, in South Korean language. Subject and object are connected. Verb comes after them. Versus English, in which the verb goes between the subject and the object. I killed the dog. Or in South Korean, I, dog, killed. When you realize that you are the dog and you are the killer, your actions come secondary. There is nothing to stand between you and the object. There's no place to hide. When you realize that every time you turn on your car, somebody somewhere gets killed because of it. My happiness is always at the price of somebody's misery. It is okay if people decide to willingly work for others, but it is not okay when they are forced to do so. And this is what we have been trained to do. It is going to be a very, very difficult process. But it is happening nevertheless. We are changing, we are evolving. And one day, this will be a beautiful place for everyone. Is it going to take a human 2.0? Do we all need to be integrated through artificial intelligence to be further controlled? Sure, why not? Is that the price of happiness for everyone? Maybe. There is no happiness for one if there is no happiness for everyone. This is the key point. With everything that's happened to me, that's happened to my family, I learned that we are all connected in more ways than one. Me losing my family taught me that in the end, there is really nothing you can control. Dorian Gray has been controlling his life for thousands of years. Imagine living forever. Forever. And your life comes at the price of others. Eventually, you pick up everybody's suffering, everybody's happiness. So yes, you feel the happiness, but you also feel the sorrow. Everything comes at a price. Even Dorian Gray gets tired. It's time for the new world. It's time to realize that we have been blackmailed, lied to for centuries. And we all know it. We all feel it. Everything you think, everything you say, everything you feel has been conditioned. Who am I? And why am I here? I hope the universe shed lights on all of us and points us into the right direction. That direction might be the end of humanity. And as you know, there is no end, just like there is no beginning. None of us know how all this started, and none of us know how all this will end. But we do have to enjoy ourselves, even if we are alone. Being happy is a beautiful thing. Being sad is also a beautiful thing. And there is no difference between the two. It is just a state of being, just like this beautiful ocean. It is just there for all of us to enjoy it, for all of us. Until the philosophy which makes one man superior and another inferior is totally and permanently abolished. Everywhere is war. War in the east, war in the west, war in the north, war in the south. The only way to stop the war is to